In a world of envy, analyze as these guys looks to see. They clones to the naked eye, the dynamic dude. No pesticides, they organic. Day and night's the podcast. In panoramic in 4K, live streaming on your airwaves. No cliche to downplay.
All right. All right. Good evening, beautiful people. As always, whatever time you guys may be watching this, welcome to episode 31. We appreciate those that watched. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you're able to. Hit the little Liberty Bell thing so you'll be notified when the show goes live or when it's a premiere. So we're gonna jump right into it. See what Mark got down there in Texas going on. Is it hot down there or what?
Oh my God, it's literally way too hot. The second summer in a row. It's been triple digits the last 2 weeks. I mean, last week, Sunday was like a record 110 or something ridiculous on Father's Day. And this week's supposed to be the same pretty much in the triple digits. So it's a repeat of last summer. I mean, it's going to be like that, I think, every year because there's ozone layers. Just every year it's just going to get hotter and hotter. And it's funny because normally we don't get rain. Like, it's scarce to get rain around here. But all of April and May, nothing but rain. So everybody's complaining. I'm like, watch what happens when the summer comes. It's going to be the same thing. And sure enough, it did rain sporadically last week, but all week has been dry. I mean, like I said, this heat is ridiculous. You walk outside, you feel like you're in the sauna. And I've never really said that about San Antonio after living here 30 years, but I ain't going to lie. Last year, this year, you feel the heat. In the shade, your butt be sweating. Like, it's ridiculous. Wow. Like, there's no point to be outside. If somebody asked me, what are you doing for Father's Day? I said, unless I'm by the pool, there ain't no reason to be outside. She asked me, was I going to barbecue? I said, I ain't barbecuing no heat like that. I said, I'm going to be by the pool or I'm going to be in the house. So we ain't doing anything outdoors. It's just too hot.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. I'm sorry. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't know I think I did send it to you, but it was this dude. He was like, it's hot as hell in Texas. He said, you know how hot it is in Texas? He took a pack of meat and it was raw. He said, this is a raw pack of meat. Look at it. It's raw. He took two pieces out and he had this big backyard. So he put one in each hand. He runs to the other end of the of the backyard and holds it up in the air for about maybe 5-10 seconds. And he runs back and he actually had 2 pieces of fried chicken. He said, this is how hot it is in Texas. This shit doesn't make no sense. But you had to say it. It's funny as hell. Yeah, so whoever did the video was good because like it didn't change. You couldn't tell if they edited it. Like the dude really ran over there and was just standing there, holding the chicken and come back. He got 2 pieces of fried chicken.
I believe it. I'm telling you, that's facts right there. That's actually did happen or can happen because it's hot. So so I'm being indoors. I was going to go out and do something, but I'm like, nah, I'm going to just sit on my porch, chill, get my little Jack Daniels. I'm going to smoke my cigar later, and that's it. But all that activity stuff, nah, it's too hot for that. Too hot.
It wasn't that hot down. No, I said it wasn't that hot down here. Mine was interesting. We wound up going bowling. And we had to wait for Kiara for a while. So we finally went out, and when we got there, I think it was a league or something bowling, so we had to wait like 25-30 minutes. But other than that, it was a good time bowling. Like an hour. I won, of course. I hit score like 100. That's not good for some people, but it's good for me. Being bowling maybe once, twice a year. But
I guess when you do it that
but when we got home, it was good, but then it got intense. So some things were said, some feelings was put out there. So it was an interesting night. Yeah.
On Father's Day.
Yeah. I'll talk about it later. I ain't gonna, put that out there.
Oh, put that out there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, say less. But I mean, that's all I was gonna say as far as that. Other than that, y'all know what I'm gonna say already. So whoever don't watch it, I'm gonna say it anyway, so you can know what I'm talking about. I always say Matt has his saying, and mine is STS. And I always use this for my clients, but I always say this is across the board. anything you try to do in your life that you're trying to accomplish or succeed at, you have to stay focused. You have to trust your process, and most definitely, out of all three, you got to stay consistent. So I always, echo that and say it. So you're gonna hear this all the time because I believe that with those three acronyms, you will achieve whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, guys. So anyway, on that note, whenever we get ready, we get ready. Let's get it.
All right, so I'm pretty sure everyone heard about the situation that happened with Ja Morant and him supposed to be, well, not supposed to be, but waving guns and stuff in the air after the first time he got suspended for 8 games, and then the second one he got suspended for 25. So I was watching one of the sports channels, and the discussion was um, that he didn't get a good enough punishment or extreme enough punishment, and others were saying that the punishment was too much. So that's what the topic is today. Not just with Ja Morant, but just in general. Um, what is it? Is punishment, can it be too extreme? And what is extreme punishment, depending on what the situation is? So I'm just going to touch a little bit on like the Ja Morant thing. So I kind of agree. I don't know if you've seen it, but Acho was saying that's the guy that's on the Speak
Right.
sports show, and he was saying he think that Ja Morant didn't get enough of a suspension because the first time he got 8 games, and basically um, some people say he lied because he went right back and did the same thing. So they felt as though that the punishment wasn't extreme enough because he was like, okay, 8 games, so what? And I believe he didn't miss any money. If he did, it wasn't a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So because that punishment wasn't, severe initially, that's what kind of allowed him to go and do the same thing again. And then in 25 games, still not enough to make him, in his opinion, really realize that the stuff that he's doing, consequences come from behind, come with it. So I'm in agreement with that. I think depending on what it is, if it's something dealing with someone's safety, someone's health, and if it's dealing with children, the punishment should definitely be extreme. I believe you have to make an example the first time to prevent that person from doing it the second time. And with his situation, I believe he lost some endorsement deals,
Mm-hmm.
but not that many. But being that he didn't lose many the first time, in my opinion, too, I think that did allow him to be kind of relaxed and like, okay, yeah, I missed 8 games, but it wasn't that much. I didn't miss anything. I'm still gonna get paid. I still got some
Mm-hmm.
some shoe deals. So I know some people may be like, well, he didn't break any laws. I know that's a lot of the conversation. He didn't break any laws, so why is he being punished where he didn't break any laws? And this is where others were saying that okay, he works in a private entity, so they actually have an unwritten rule based off of the way you conduct yourself is going to reflect on the business, which is the NBA. So just because the law of the land doesn't state that it's illegal to flash a gun on IG and stuff like that, it still doesn't mean he didn't break any rules as far as in the organization that he works with. So from that perspective only, again, I feel as though it should be extreme. To me, you got to make a person not just with that, but with anything. In my opinion, is to make them regret what they did and not want to ever do it again. So I would rather make it extreme the first time to prevent that person from doing it again, opposed to just being lenient and say, okay, well, it wasn't that bad. He didn't really break any laws. He didn't hurt nobody. So we're just gonna give him basically a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it could depend on the person, you know, who they are, what they do. So I think the punishment will determine that too. They have a large, part in determining what the punishment would be. But I just think initially punishment should be extreme in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This one we probably gonna agree for the most part. Now, this is how I look at it. I think he should have got now this when I say this, I'm gonna say it two ways. Because I know some people, we talked about this at work actually, is I would say he should be suspended a year. And the guy I'm talking to is like, oh, that's too extreme, dude. He, like you said, he ain't hurt nobody, he ain't kill nobody, he ain't shoot at nobody. He literally posted something on Instagram, which he have the right to do by law. He could post whatever he want. Now, the reason why I say he should be punished a year, because I think, like you just said, the first 8 games was a slap on the wrist. He took it as a joke. Yeah, they just told me I can't play, but hey, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do me. And then he said he did a little public announcement, which somebody scripted that for him because he didn't seem sincere to me when he did it. So right after the season, then he does it again. Supposedly it's a toy gun. Regardless, he did the same thing. So that tells me 2 things: he didn't take it serious enough, or he got issues that he needs to kind of look at and evaluate. Say, hey, maybe I do got some issues. Maybe he's hanging around the wrong crowd. That's what one of the guys was saying at work. It's his choice of selection. You know, and the old saying goes, you are the company, but the company you keep. So he like thugs and the game bangers. That's his personality. I don't really see how it's going to change with 25 games. To me, it might be even worse because now he ain't got nothing to do. So what is he going to do now? Is he going to get his act right and really focus on bettering himself and changing his personality and realize I got an image to uphold? I got I'm a role model now. So to me, a year would probably be too long, even though I sound like I'm contradicting myself, because that would be the other side of it. If it'd be a year, then maybe he would fall off and do something else drastic. But I'm thinking maybe a year would really determine how serious this guy is about basketball. You know, because a year off and take half his pay, half the year. At least give him some of it. But for the first 20, 45 games, whatever, he gets nothing. Let him really feel it and realize that, there, I made a real bad mistake, even though I didn't kill nobody. It's the image that I'm putting out there. And it's a lot of kids that's looking at me and taking this as, oh, wow, if he could do it, I could do it. Because even though he didn't say kids do this, it's just what he does, the action of it. And my boss told me this, Rufus. And I mean, people say it, Dad said it, Jay said it. A lot of people say it. But great power comes great responsibility. So I believe in that saying, that when you have that image and you portray yourself a certain way as a role model, even though you didn't ask for it, granted, we look at you and put you in that pedestal, but you still in the public eye. To me, act like you have sense. I always say move in silence. I'd rather not be seen than heard, because everybody's following you. They gonna put that little microscope on you, regardless if you're not doing nothing bad or not. But as soon as you do something wrong, they're gonna highlight it, because you got the people out there looking for something that don't even like him, and they're gonna highlight that. Now, he was the dummy that put his own thing out on his own post, so he kind of threw his own self under the bus. So on that note, that's why I say he got something mental going on, maybe he needs to think about. And I hate to bring that up, but we really need to have a show on that. And I would say mental health for a reason, because I had something happen with one of my clients. I'm not gonna go into that, but I just know, and I had a breakdown at work. So I just think everyday life, whatever you go through, is maybe something going on in his life we just don't know about. Now, does that make him want to flash a gun? But that tells me something ain't right about him. And he needs to really evaluate his psychiatrist, something to really open up to make him understand, why is this not right? Because you're a ball player. I don't care if you're a ball player, police officer, anything that where the public eye is watching you, you gotta know better. That's just, and I'm a trainer, and I know that I gotta conduct my act a certain way. Because if I'm training a client or a friend and they see me and they see how I'm treating her or him, they gonna be like, damn, this is how this dude is as a trainer. You know, so I don't want to even come across, when I'm with somebody that's cool, that's not a client, like if I'm training with my girlfriend and she all hugging on me and kissing on me, another lady might look like, damn, this dude is unprofessional. He's all up on his client. I wouldn't recommend him to nobody. So my point is, everybody has a responsibility to put themselves in a way to conduct themselves in a proper manner. So my thing is, 40, was it 25 games?
Yeah,
To me, that's
it's
not
25.
that's just my own personal opinion. Because 25 games, he's still got 60-something games to play. So it's not like he's missing a lot. And like I said, if he's that type of guy that he's hanging around the room proud, the 25 games ain't gonna make a difference. I just think a year is more time for you to really have that reality check and realize either you really serious about playing sports or not. Because if you fall off and start doing all this stupid shit, then that tells me you're not as focused as you are. Or you can flip it and be like, man, I miss basketball. I really messed up. I gotta get this right. I can't do this again because I don't want to be off another year. Nothing's guaranteed. I can come back and get hurt and be out another year. So to me, time is everything. So make his ass sit out a year and feel that pain.
See, that's what I think is interesting, because somebody else said the same thing. Like, a lot of the sportscasters and stuff is saying, well, we think he has other issues going on. Some even mentioned what you said as far as the mental health thing. And it's just my personal feeling. I think sometimes we tend to use mental health as an excuse for just making, let's say, what it is, a bad decision, or just being immature. I don't think everything evolves around mental health. I think some things is just some people just make poor ass decisions and just immature. They haven't grown up. So I think with him, he's just immature. His dad, he hang out with him like that's his buddy. So I don't think, that's just my opinion, I don't personally think there's anything going on that he's, trying to send messages through his behavior. I just think he's immature and he needs to grow up. And I think the mental health thing is just an scapegoat.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I say mental health, and I think is layers to that. When I mean that, and that's why I shouldn't have put it out there, because it is kind of broad and it would be taken like in and out of context. I mean, when I say mental health, meaning something's going on with him, like you said, he's young, granted. Young has a lot to do with it, but that's my point. Like, you've been playing basketball all your life. So you should have had a mentor prepare you. And at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you, regardless who teaches you, who inspires you. But you got to realize the position you in, and you got to know, like you said, it's irrational, it's young, but you still got to know right from wrong. Like, if you're like, damn, I'm post this, what's the kickback going to be on this? If I post this damn gun, what's going to happen? You know how these fools, that's the way I would think. Like, think about it before you do it. Now, you might say, well, again, that's because he's young. But then that's the same thing I can say about saying when people are young, as you saying when it's mental health. We can't always put it on, well, he's young, so that's immature. You still got to know right from wrong. I think regardless how old you are, you should be conscious enough to know if this is right, if this is wrong. And I always tell my daughters this, if you do something wrong and you know it's a consequence and you still do it, then be ready for the consequence to happen. But if you just do it blatantly and don't care and then oblivious and then blame it on your age, then that's another story. But if you know what you did and you got to be understanding that, damn, that at the backlash I'm going to get from this, because I know technically this ain't right, with all the gun stuff going on, people getting shot up. If I post this, it can't be nothing positive. So for him to do that tells me either he didn't care, or we could blame the age thing, or something going on. That's why I say mental health. I don't mean like he's crazy. I just mean maybe something where he's very immature. He think it's cool, or maybe somebody's inspiring him on the sidelines somewhere or daring him. So that could be it. Maybe it's not mental health, but I'm gonna throw what's the name at you. Tell me if he's mental health. Oh boy, from no, Pierce got issues too, but the other cat, the football player, the one that's been Antonio Brown.
Oh, that's
That's what I'm
mental
saying.
health
No,
right
not
there. That's totally
everybody, but
different.
certain characters. I say it's a case by case individuality. But that dude, he got issues. Yeah, I'm just, he could be I don't care kind of rebellion kind of guy, but stuff he been doing, there's something going on with him upstairs.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Now, this is how I see it. How could you say, not you, but how in general can anybody say that what's right and what's wrong? because just in my opinion, society in itself, more so here in the United States, promote negativity and promote violence and stuff. So how is it wrong? Because you got people, these movies, video games, everything you turn to, there's some sort of violence. He's not underage. He's not 16. He's an adult. So, and you got these people in movies and stuff flashing guns and doing all this shooting and killing. People celebrate John Wick. So, again, how can anybody say that's the wrong thing to do? Because what he did do was not illegal. So you got John, you know what I'm saying? I'm just using it as an example. So I just find it interesting. Always say, well, not what you said, but what's right and what's wrong. To me, how can anybody really decipher what's right and what's wrong because of what's being put out there? Even on social media, with all the nonsense you see with some people doing stuff that's idiotic. So you're kind of putting out there, well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to do it. So to me, you're teaching people there is no right and wrong. Where do you, if the parents are not putting it out at home, where are they getting right from wrong? Because in my opinion, you're definitely not getting it from anywhere else other than home.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I agree with that, but this is where I would say where the difference is, only because, and that's a good point. Like, we do promote it. We celebrate violence every day. And it is funny how when it comes to an athlete, I think athletes kind of get the short end of the stick when they do stuff typically a normal person, not to say normal, but a person that don't be in a public eye would do, and they'll laugh at it, or like you say, post it and celebrate it. But as soon as the athlete, everybody want the book thrown at them. So the only reason why I'm saying why I think personally it is like that, and I kind of do agree with it, and I'm gonna use an analogy with parents, or as mom used to say, when you out in public, you better act like you got sense. Act like you know you've been raised right, because you're representing your parents when you out in public. So if you out wilding out and your kid just loud and running up and down the aisles, we all seen it. I've seen it. You look at that kid, be like, that kid ain't got no damn home training. And that parent could probably do everything under the sun to discipline them, but they just want to act a fool when they get out in public and make you look like you're not doing your part. So you're like, what does this got to do with sports? So I'm gonna say it's a little bit different because that's not their parents. But in sports, I think you gotta represent the team you play for and the organization. Because if you wilding out and doing whatever, then it's gonna look like, damn, this is what they allow in their team, their organization. They have no discipline, no respect, no more. They're just wilding out. This dude going all around acting all crazy. So I think you do have responsibility. Again, I'm gonna fall back on when you have that much power, meaning, again, it's power to people. We give all these people the attention. So naturally, that's why they blown up like this. It really is not their fault. It's us, the people. I will say that. But even with that said, I keep going back to this. If you know this, I'm not saying you gotta play and act like a little timid person or don't do nothing wrong. Again, you just gotta know what your actions are. And if you cool with the consequence, then that's fine. But if you're gonna do it and then act like you didn't do nothing wrong, you know what you did is gonna be backlash, then I think that is on the individual, the athlete, or whoever, because you knew there's gonna be some consequence, knowing how people are, people stickle. As soon as they see something, you and a high profile person, they're gonna put you on blast. So again, if you don't mind that and what comes with it, then I say fine. But these athletes got to know that whatever you do is going to be on the public eye. Is it fair? No. But again, you got to understand that's the situation you put yourself into, even though the fans are the one that's putting you in a pedestal. But you got to know that. Again, like I'm going to put that out there again as a trainer. God, I don't want to bring this up because I don't want to put her out there because I know she watches the show, but I ain't going to say her name. But we was training the other day, and it got kind of heated. And I'm gonna say I got out of pocket. I kind of went too far. It was a long day at work, so I kind of went off on her. And there's people all around, and they heard the conversation. Now they don't know me from Candace Paint, but they see me, a trainer, talking to her like that. even though they don't know what's going on, it's just the perception is, damn, this dude, this how he talks to his client. He rude as shit. Like, I wouldn't want him as a trainer. What kind of trainer does that? So to me, I had to stop, and really, I thought about it after the fact. It was too late. And I was like, damn, I really went off and shit. People looking at me like I'm crazy. And I was like, I don't give a fuck what they think, but I gotta remember I'm a trainer. So what I do, other people is watching, because people are always watching. Mom used to always say that. And my man Rufus, he said, people always watch you. When you think nobody's watching, they watch you. Does that mean you gotta be all scared what you do? No, but just know something or somebody's always watching you. So my point is, if you know that as an athlete, or again, a high profile person in power, you got to know that it's going to be some consequence with what you do. So basically, all I'm saying in a nutshell is understand what's going on in the consequence. You know that and you still do it, then I say it should be no problem. But I don't think Ja Morant ever was like, why y'all attacking me? Y'all, so I can't say that in him particularly, because he never said that. But his other athletes have acted like they was being attacked for what they did. I'm like, well, you put it out there. So again, is it fair? No. But people going to talk about it. I mean, I say walk in sight. You can do everything you want to do and nobody never know about you. But if you one of those people that's kind of loud and kind of draws attention towards yourself, then that's the consequences going to come with it. More people going to have eyes on you because you're making yourself known, when the other guy might be in the cut, chilling, doing the same shit you doing, but he's just not being so loud about it and publicizing it that he ain't gonna get the one caught or the backlash. He probably in the background laughing like, you dumb fool. You getting caught up. Like, old boy, LA Lakers, his behind. God, what is his name? The point guard that just went back to LA. He was there, he left, and he came back.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
But he had this incident the first term go around where he posted the buddy's picture.
Yeah.
Of his girlfriend or whatever. Like, I mean, it's just some things that's like, come on. You can't, I mean, you can do it. And I know what you're saying about we do this and watch this every day. But again, I'm just thinking to myself, why would you put yourself out there knowing there's going to be people going to make a comment because who you are and what you do? So that would be my only thing about that, is with athletes is, even though you didn't ask for it, you know what's going to happen. You got to be understanding. Just when you watch the news and other athletes and shit get caught up. But it happens. Look what happened with Sterling Sharp. So stuff happens sometimes. So
Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Sharp, not Shannon Sharp, excuse me. Where he got into it at the LA game with Ja Morant. Dad, you know what I mean? So I just think, again, everyday life stuff happens. We can't, like you said, condemn anybody, because this stuff to me happens every day. But
all right,
when
so
you repeat it, huh?
No, obviously, let me ask you this. So again, because he didn't break any laws, I get the whole maturity level and the image, and he represent $1 billion corporation.
Right.
But at the end of the day, does the punishment actually fits the crime, so to speak? Because technically he didn't break any laws. So if he didn't break any laws as far as within the state, so you're punishing him because of the optics of what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know some NBA analysts were saying that there's a clause in there that NBA players can't do. So I don't know the whole technicality as far as what is stated. But I mean, at the end of the day, was the punishment rewarding of the crime? Because the public don't know what the contract states. Well, I mean, I'm just hearing this based off of what they're saying on these sports shows. But as far as like, if they was to publish, okay, this is what the contract stated, he broke these laws, this is why he's being punished.
Right.
Because for some people that actually have an issue with it, like, well, he didn't do anything wrong. That's why the punishment kind of seems extreme, is because what laws did he break as far as NBA wise? Because we don't know that. NBA community knows what it is. And just from the average person, just like, okay, you mature, you got children, you shouldn't be doing that from that perspective. But again, my thing is, so does it fit the crime? And like I said, not just with Ja Morant in this situation, but anybody. If something happened, like with you, let's say you was working for a gym, you weren't a freelance trainer, and the owner saw you or your supervisor saw you, that what would be the appropriate punishment for that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
So that's what I'm asking.
termination.
What would you get terminated for? I mean, what did you do? You didn't really elaborate. You just said you was yelling at him, but
Oh, well, I mean, it was a misunderstanding with the actual training, the process on how to do it the right way versus the wrong way. And it just got heated. We both very strong-minded individuals. We both want our voice to be heard. And I just took it to the point where I was like, you need to pay attention. You're not doing this right. She said I insulted her intelligence. But the fact of the matter is, one, like I was like blatantly rude in a sense where it's like people looking like this guy need to be escorted, nothing like that. It's just because it was loud enough to other people to hear it. So just the integrity of being embarrassed, that part is more or less because again, if I'm sitting in there and I'm watching the trainer go up on a client, you could say, well, maybe the client is being hard-headed. But again, it's all perception. Like if I'm looking at that, I wouldn't want a trainer like that because it seems rude and it's putting a person on blast to embarrass you in front of everybody else. So it depends on case by case and how everybody perceives it on their own way. I just wouldn't want that perception of myself to be out there like this is how he treats his clients. Because you as a trainer, it's word of mouth. Somebody see you like this dude rude, don't get him as a trainer. That dude gonna go off on you, so it just puts a bad perception of you out there. So I have to always be mindful that when I do stuff, there's other people watching me, especially when I'm training somebody. So that's all I'm saying is if I didn't care, like, oh, well, I give a fuck what they think. I'm still going to train my client, get paid. Then I just deal with it. But if I know that this ain't right, then I should be more professional and be like, okay, we can handle this later. I'll talk to you later. We're going to do this in front of a lot of people because it's just not going to be a good look. So, I mean, that's what I mean. Now, you might say, well, you older. Again, I just believe at the end of the day, you should know right from wrong. If you're at a certain age, 20 and above, you may be a little bit hot-headed, but you still should be able to be conscious enough to know if this is wrong and I do this, this is what's going to happen behind that and be ready to deal with it. And that's just the way I think. But most people probably wouldn't think like that when they're young. They ain't worried about all that, So I can't expect a young person to really think that way, but they should because I think that's part of it, But I mean, I'm sitting back thinking while you was talking, I think even in the NFL, what happened with Antonio Bryant, and then it was somebody else. God, I think it was last year's Super Bowl, not with the Eagles, but the year before that. And they set the number one cornerback in the whole game. Remember? I don't know if you remember. They kept talking about what did he do wrong and how could you sit your best corner? And they claimed that's why they lost the Super Bowl. It's because of him. Huh?
I think it was New England.
Yeah, the last time they went. So I think you made a good point, and it is clauses that I think teams put. I think that would make a big difference. Like when you sign a contract, if you're known for being hot-headed or doing a little extra, be like, look, Matt or Matthew, when you sign this contract, you're going to put in this clause. You do anything that's going detrimental to the team or yourself, and you do it once, twice, 3 times, we're going to reprimand you. We're going to get 25 game suspension, X amount of money. And if you sign it, you sign something just like we had to work Saturday. And on Friday, you sign stating I will be to work on Saturday. Once you put your Hancock on there, you are saying that you acknowledge and you understand what's going on. So I think that should be a clause if it isn't in every sport. I think it should be like that, period. In anything, work, people may say that's too much. But again, if you're in a high price position, not like a regular job. I mean, like if you somewhere where it's high price or it's somewhere where it's big up there in the level of whatever it is you're doing, status, to where it could be detrimental to the team, it should be some kind of clause. If you are known for that. Now, if you're a regular outgoing abiding citizen, of course, you don't need that in the clause. But if you're somebody that's suspect, then okay, this is what's going to happen. And if you agree to it and you do it, then I don't want nothing. Say less. There's no reason for you to be trying to figure it out. But us, the public, don't know that. And that's a good point you made. That could have been it with him. Maybe they had a clause in there. Who knows? But he didn't do nothing wrong. But I'm just looking on whatever kid saw that. Now, this is over the top, I know. And I'm being devil's advocate, but a kid saw that really idolized Ja Morant and be like, damn, that dude got a gun too. I'm gonna get me a gun. And he go out and shoot somebody. And then he say, oh, well, I just saw Ja Morant had his gun. So that's power of influence. Now, you could say that's not Ja Morant's fault, but it's fault in the sense to he's putting out there, this is okay when you get to my success. It don't matter. You can still do what you want. Because somebody's saying, do you? Because he got a lot of backlash for that. I forgot what former NBA player said, do you? Don't listen to nobody else. Because Stephen A went off on him and saying, how can you say that? You're promoting him. Because it's been known, or it's been reported that he hangs out with gangbangers. And it was somebody that stated that they showed a video. They showed him on the sideline throwing up gang signs after somebody scored on the Memphis team. And then it was a guy that was a true gangbanger that went on social media and said, well, God, you need, you know what I mean? So it's people that even thugs telling him, you need to stop doing, you ain't a thug, dude. You're an NBA player. You need to stick to that. Don't try to live this life because you ain't ready for it. So when he tells you that, then that's when you need to step back and be like, okay, yeah, I'm doing too much. I really need to stop and get my lane. I'm an NBA player. Because what's the name? He actually supposedly is a banger. That's why he's not in the league no more. Gilbert Arenas, remember? He was sad guns in his trunk and stuff. So, I mean, this is not the first time. So I think maybe that's part of it. Is they like, okay, now we saw what happened with Gilbert Arenas. And we don't want this again. Even though it's the beginning, they want to nip it in the bud, I guess, and be like, you're not going to be a Gilbert Arenas. So could be it too. You know how that goes. You do one person do something wrong and it affects everybody else. Even though you didn't do nothing that extreme, they just kind of, okay, here we go. Like situational, like we went through this with Gilbert. We don't want to go through this with you, Ja. So we're going to try to save you. So we're going to suspend you 25 games. And if that don't do it, then, hey, that means we can't help you. You don't want to be helped. So we'll see what happens with 25 games. I think 25 is good enough. I don't think it's more than enough. Does it fit the punishment, mean what he did? Probably not. But you said it a minute ago. Sometimes you got to put that whip on them. Well, I shouldn't say whip. Crack them and be like, look, this going to hurt. But hopefully it'll wake you up. Because again, if you do this right here, oh man, he ain't going to do nothing. He's just going to tell me 8 games and I'll be back. So you got to make it feel it. He has to feel it. If he's got any morals inside of him, he'll feel that and be like, shit, I need to get right. I got too much money made in this. This is my life. Why am I messing it up just to post a gun? That's not positive energy anyway. So I need to stop doing that anyway. I can't get mad at them. What I'm doing is not positive. So he needs to do a self-evaluation on himself and realize what he's doing is nothing positive about that. Even if it's innocent, technically, because it's just gun, but still, with all this stuff going on, with people getting shot, yeah, it's the wrong thing to be promoting, in my opinion. I mean, we all individuals, I get it, but you can post something else, you know. That's how I see it. I ain't mean to steal the whole show, but
I mean, it's like what I started with earlier. To me, it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
If you know who it is and what the crime is. So I'm just sitting here thinking about as far as just not just NBA, but let's look at as far as like with traffic tickets or traffic incident. Or even past that, like if something happens, you have to go to court. They have this thing called first time offender. And so you still get punished, but the punishment is not as severe as if you came back and you're a repeat offender. And that's when they lay down the hammer. So I think, again, it depends on what the situation is. And if you're a repeat offender, then it's by all means, you know, whatever happens, if shit happens, you know, severely. But in the beginning, I think the best route is to be not lenient, but enough just to shock them. Like, okay, you got my attention. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what Acho brought up that I thought was a good point. He said, if
Mm-hmm.
I parked at a parking lot and the parking attendant just gave me a ticket for $45, he's like, I'll pay it, but I'd still park there because it wasn't that much. But if you
Right.
park there and they tow it, then that catches my attention because now I got to go
Exactly.
down to the pound. Now you got to pay the fee to get it out. You got to pay for the
Mm-hmm.
towing fee. So now you had that person's attention. So I think punishment can still be uh, at shock value to where it's
Mm-hmm.
not severe. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it's a good point. I'm bringing up 2 points. So when I went this past year for New Year's, we went to South Padre Island, which is the beach for New Year's. We brought in a New Year's on the beach. Now, most places you go at night, you can park, even though it's a business area during the day. This was New Year's Eve on the weekend,
Mhm.
and a lot of people was parking everywhere. And I was reluctant to park there because it had a towing sign. But we was like, no, we're gonna go ahead. They ain't gonna tow it. It's at night, and normally they don't tow cars at night because it's
Right.
nighttime. It's the weekend. So lo and behold, bringing the new year, enjoying ourselves. Wow, it's 2023. And the way of bringing the new year, I come outside and the truck is gone. They towed the car. Now, perfect example. Now, the person could have just said, damn, this dude parked in the wrong spot. It's New Year's. Let me just
Yeah.
give him a warning, give him a ticket. Do I have to tow his shit, make him drive down into the pound, get his car out, pay X amount of money on New Year's, where it's an incident that could easily be controlled where he didn't have to do that. But he didn't put the ticket on there. He towed the car.
Yeah.
So does that punishment fit that? To me, it was too much because I'm like, really? And then the lady that came to get us, the Uber, she was like, oh my God, they park there every weekend. Like they don't never tow nobody's car. Like this is something we do every weekend here. So we're like, well, what the hell? Why they towed on New Year's Eve? Because they wanted to make money off of it. So the point I'm
But they
making is,
got your attention, though, right?
yeah, exactly. But I'm saying though, your point is that punishment didn't fit that because it's something that happens on a regular basis, and people parked there before, according to the Uber drivers. So they could have easily let me keep the car there, put a warning, something on there, or whatever. But they towed the car. So to me, that punishment was too much because it was on New Year's Eve and it was overnight, where there's no business going on. It was a bunch of cars parked everywhere. So why would you do that? So that to me is a little too excessive punishment.
Well, you can
You know
look
what
at
I mean?
that two different ways. You can look at it
Yeah.
as, yeah, it was extreme, but then you can look at it, okay, then we're going to get the shock value because this joke is not going to ever come back over here again and park without paying. So you can flip the coin on that one.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know you're
it's like,
saying, to you're saying that's too much
right.
because somebody else is like, we do that all the time. But hey, it's still illegal. That's the law, right?
Yeah, right. But that's my point though. So I mean, it's the law, but I think sometimes we as people have too much power because to me personally, if that was me, I would let it go because it's New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve. It's New Year. People out having fun. You know that they gonna come and leave.
And
So
see,
it's like,
now I'm
why
going to
would you
call
make
you
them
out.
go out of the way? Huh?
Now I'm going to call you out because that contradicts
What?
what you were saying earlier about
About what?
Ja Morant and own responsibility. Now, this I know this has nothing to do with his
No,
status,
I see where you're
but
going
hold
with
up,
it.
hold up, hold up. You said right from wrong. If
Yeah,
there's a sign posted that says
right.
"Do not park here," that's right and wrong. So the same thing you were saying about him, the same thing applies to you.
No, but
Does
here's
it
the
not?
point though. You're right.
How?
But here's where it changes though. Because the signs clearly states
See,
business
now you're
hours.
making excuses. Now,
No, no,
see,
no.
that's an excuse.
No, for real. I should have put this out there in the beginning. But the sign says from 9 or 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. This was midnight. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not even business hours. So what are you're not blocking no business because the business is already closed because it's New Year. So that day in particular, this guy knew that the business wasn't even open because it was on a Saturday. Remember, New Year's on a
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah.
So most places you go downtown, anywhere, they let you park there overnight because it's not a business day. So that's why I'm like, this guy could have easily overlooked that. Now, if it was a Monday,
Yeah.
and it is, I'd be like, okay, yeah, because they don't know when you're leaving. You can leave it there and be 5 a.m. But this was Saturday going into a Sunday. Like, come on.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
Huh?
That just is one question. If
Yeah.
that was in the wrong, you could have fought that and you could have got your money back. But if
Yeah,
if
well,
it's
who I
not
was
able to
with,
be,
yeah,
if it
go
was
ahead.
not able to be fought in court,
No, that's why I
then
didn't mess with it
hey,
because it
right.
was too. Not no, I could have, but she was like, "It's okay. It's New Year's. We still had fun, so and she paid, so that's why I was like, okay, it was your money, so."
Yeah.
But I mean, if it was that serious for me, yeah. But I mean, it was the inconvenience of it because we had to
Right.
go all the way across the bridge to the pound, and we had to wait 2 hours over there because the dude just left to go get another car. And even the lady said this guy probably doing it to make money because it's New Year's. Because it was the independent tow truck. This wasn't even a company. This is one of those what do you call those independent contractors that did this. So that's why I said this dude did it just to make money. Because if it was a regular tow truck, city tow, they wouldn't have done that because it was cars everywhere. That's why I'm like, how you just randomly pick one? There's a lot of other tow signs with tow truck signs on it saying can't park there. He just literally go and take mine. I thought it was personal actually, but he ain't know me. So I was like, that's weird. He just picks mine out of all these other cars. But anyway.
All right, so let me
Huh?
All right, so let me ask you this. Now with children.
Yeah.
Now, when I actually was taking classes, this is when I learned this. And it's definitely amongst the Black community as far as the debate between Black parents whoop their parents and white parents don't beat their kids. Actually knowing what I know now, that's actually like borderline child abuse, and sometimes in some occasions it is child abuse. So again, the crime fitting or the punishment fitting the crime. Should you beat your child based off of him, like, let's say he's talked back at you. You said something, he talked back. Is that warranting for you punishment, meaning slapping him or getting the belt and tearing his ass up?
He's a repeated offender, yeah.
So when it comes to children, what's over the line?
I think totally oh, you mean as far as punishing? I mean, if you beat your kid up, yeah, I think like if the kid talks off a mouth like talk back to you, I'll pop him in the mouth just because you're saying too much and you don't talk to me like that. So I like backhand him in the mouth, like say something else. Say less. You don't do that and disrespect me. If I tell you to do something, you refuse, you want to come back at me, then that's discipline. Now, this is where it's funny because that kid does that is because it's something they see or it's something you have been allowing before, in my opinion. Because if a kid mouth off on you, they get it from somebody. You know what I mean? Like if the kid, no, you don't tell me what, or no, it's because either they play doing that on the regular at home or somebody's playing with them, and then that's why they do it. I'm gonna say this because of my grandson. I love the boy to death, but he likes to hit me. Sometimes like, don't do that, boy. So he do it again. So I pop him. He started crying. I said, see, you don't hit adults. That's not nice. But I had to stop and think, well, why was he doing that anyway? Where's he learning that from? So I can't really get mad at him because he's getting it from somewhere. So I know that's kind of a long answer to your question. I would say you can't like beat a kid up, even though the old school parents, like when we beat our kids' ass, we get more respect. If they mouthing off, again, if you tell them be quiet and they keep doing it, and my saying is, if I got to tell you more than 3 times, I'm begging. So if I got to tell you more than 3 times, then you get a pop in the mouth. If you keep on doing it, then yeah, the belt's coming out. Because Dad used to say that. I take the message and it hits you in the butt and it comes up your back, up your spine, all the way up your neck, and go to your brain and tell you to stop doing it. Because sometimes that's the way you're going to listen is by a consequence. So I think, spanking is good if the punishment, like you said, if they just over the top. Now they just doing something that you just can't control them. No, don't go off on them because you can't get them under control. But if they just literally disrespecting you, and you already told them 3 times and they still doing it, then yeah, it's time for a pop. Now I know timeout is another way. His comedian is funny. He used to say that. I forget which comedian. He was like, "What's the point of that? You're giving them more time to think about what they're gonna do next while he's standing there in the corner." So you can question that. Like, is that really making the person or the kid learn from their mistakes by being in the corner? And they say, "Well, think about what you did." And they be like, "Okay," and then think about it. They be like, "I'm gonna just do
Yeah.
it worse next time," and they think of another way to get around it. So
I think
I
it's
don't
called
know.
timeout. They call
You
it
know,
timeout.
yeah. So I mean, I would spank them before I do a timeout. I'm just being honest. I mean, to me, it works for some parents. Me personally, I've never seen nothing come out of it. Now, I know you, I'll let you tell your story, but some kids, you have to put them and make them do something, push up something, to make them feel like, oh, man,
I was just about to go there.
Yeah, so that's why I say I'm going to let you tell your story.
So I'm just going to do 2. One was Keisha. This was her mom's birthday, and her mom came out and she was like, "Man, somebody took my money." I was like, "Where was it at?" She was like, "It was in the drawer." I said, "You sure somebody took it? You just, misplaced it." "No, somebody took my money." And she was even kind of hitting around to like if I took it. I was like, "Why would I take your money? Really?"
Right.
So I could always tell with them as far as if they get into something. So Keisha, she came out and if she was just acting funny. And I said, "Keisha," I brought them all out. I said, "Who took your mom's money?" And it's all like, "I didn't do it." And then Keisha kind of like put her head down. I said, "Key, did you do it?" And she just burst into tears and was like, "Yeah." I said, "Why did you do it?" See, I wanted to buy her something nice for her birthday. Now, in that instance, I didn't spank her, I didn't beat her or anything like that. I just talked to her and
Right.
explained to her, "Look, if you want to do something for her, just come
Uh-huh.
talk to me or ask your mom or something." But I didn't go overboard and screamed at her and beat her or anything like that. So that's one instance. Now the other time they used to run up and down the stairs in the house. I hated that. So I was like, "Okay." I said, "Y'all come here. Y'all want to run? You're gonna run outside." So that's when I was in Virginia. I had that long driveway. So I had
Okay.
them do wind sprints up and
Right.
down the driveway. I said, "Y'all gonna run until I get tired, not until you get tired. I get tired." I wore
Uh-huh.
them jokers out for.
Right.
That may seem extreme to some people, but in my
Uh-huh.
mind, that kind of fit the crime
Yeah.
because they was running
Yeah.
in the house. So if you want to
Right.
run, let's run outside, and you're gonna get a
Yeah.
benefit out of it. You're gonna build your endurance, work on your heart
Uh-huh.
rate and stuff. But instead, it's
Right.
gonna be a longer distance. So that's just 2 of the stories I wanted to share with
Yeah.
punishment.
No, but that was the 2 good ones. That's a real good one. The second one, like you said, that punishment literally fits what they was doing wrong. Like, you want to run, bring your butt out here, do some
Right.
real running. So yeah, so you're right. If people can do that, I think it's okay. Like you said, another good point too. I would talk to the kid first. Again, if that doesn't work, and you did it numerous of times, then that's when you gotta do the hey, get that belt to the butt and see, maybe that'll talk to you better than I do. Maybe you'll hear that because the pain. So I would say, yeah, you got to be steps to it, build up to it. So I wouldn't just go off on a kid just because you can. I would think you talk to them, sit them down, try to teach them right from wrong, and they still choose to do what they want to do. And they're like, okay, I already said what I had to say. So that's not now. Let's see how you
Yeah.
listen to the belt, so. But I mean, that
Yeah.
was that's some good topics, good points that you
Yeah.
brought up. So I think at the end of the day, my closing argument on this is when it comes to athletes, again, it could be anybody with great power comes great responsibility. If you're in a position of, not to say power, but where you have a high position, you have to be more conscious of what you do. Does that mean you got to walk on eggshells? No, but again, if you know what you did, you consciously aware what you did is going to have some pushback, be ready for it. Don't act surprised. Don't act like, why are they coming at me because I'm an athlete or I'm even a police officer, fireman, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, anybody that's, again, within high position. I think you got to know right from wrong. If you ain't gonna get it, then yeah, the punishment needs to come, but it does need to fit the crime. But sometimes it hurts is what you need, because the slap on the wrist, you can only do that so many times. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, just know what you do is a consequence behind it. And I think that's what it should boil down to at the end of the day. Because like you said, we do this stuff, we watch it all day, every day. So athletes are no different. They're human, but they have to realize their position they're in too.
yep,
So
I agree 100. So for me, it's like I said earlier, it should definitely fit the crime, depending on who the person is. Knowing the person to make sure determine as far as what the punishment should be and how extreme it should be. I do believe in shock value though in the beginning, but
right.
the shock value is going to basically be determined on who the individual is, what they did, and so forth. But it definitely should be shock value in the beginning, so it won't ever happen again. So on that note, we thank everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Remember, your thoughts becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation. We enjoyed it. We see y'all next week. Enjoy your week. Peace.
All right. We out.